I still hear it sometimes. Not the echo, just the wording. Mentally incompetent. Embarrassing widow. That was later, after everything, when I realized silence had already done its damage. Back then, it was morning. Courtroom air smelled faintly like old paper and burnt coffee. That's all I remember. No drama, just that smell and my pulse in my ears. We were supposed to start with the basics. Names, purpose, procedure. The judge hadn't even finished clearing her throat. Haley stood up. Too fast. Chair scraped. She didn't look at the judge. She pointed at me. Straight arm, shaking finger. She is a mentally incompetent widow, she said, loud, clear, like she'd practiced it in the mirror. She's embarrassing herself. She can't manage money. She talks to herself. She needs protection. I swear the room tilted, not in a panic way. More like the floor decided to shrug. I stayed seated. My name is Samantha. I didn't say that out loud. I didn't say anything. I didn't even look at her. I stared at the table edge. There was a chip in the wood. I traced it with my thumb. Dumb detail, but it helped. Kept me here. Haley kept going, listing things. My coat, my house, how I walk everywhere, how I won't sign papers for my own good. She said widow like it was a diagnosis. Her lawyer didn't stop her. That mattered. The judge didn't interrupt either. She just wrote something down. Slow, careful, pen scratching. That sound felt heavier than Haley's voice. This is the part where people expect tears. Or yelling. Or some speech about motherhood. Honestly, I wanted to laugh. Not because it was funny, because it was so much worse than I imagined. And my body didn't know what else to do. Quick aside, if you've never had your kid talk about you like you're already gone, it hits weird, like being alive at your own funeral. Anyway, my lawyer shifted beside me, didn't look at me, just tapped the file once. A reminder, don't speak. So I didn't. Haley finally sat down, breathing hard. Victorious. Kind of. The judge paused. Wrote one more note. That pause didn't save me, but it didn't help Haley either. We were already past the point where anyone could pretend this was about care. That morning didn't start with rage. It started with a phone buzzing too early. I wasn't there. I heard about it later. Pieces. Tone. The way she told it without realizing what she was admitting. First call. The bank. Short. Flat voice. Her credit line was frozen. Not reviewed. Frozen. She tried to interrupt. They didn't let her. Second call came before she could put the phone down. Payroll. 3 months behind. Someone finally said it out loud. 3 months is when people stop believing excuses. She's still dressed the same. Hair done. Clean jacket. I've always noticed that about Haley. She keeps the outside smooth even when the inside is caving in. Her lawyer met her in the hallway outside the courtroom. I saw them later. Replayed it in my head. This is temporary, he told her. Not comforting. Technical. A conservatorship freezes access. It protects assets. Protects from who she asked. From misuse, he replied. Careful word. He glanced at me when he said it. Not long, just enough. Haley crossed her arms. So I can redirect control, legally. He added, like that fixed it. She nodded. Too fast. She needed something to believe in. I know that nod. I used to do it myself. When you decide the lie you're telling yourself is close enough to truth to survive on, she didn't talk about stealing. She talked about responsibility, about timing, about how things would go back to normal once the pressure eased. The money was always meant for me, she muttered. Not to him, to herself. I didn't hear that part until later. It stuck. When Haley walked into that courtroom, she wasn't there to shame me. She was there because every door behind her had already closed. Haley's lawyer stood and passed the folder forward. Thick. Tabs. Neat. The The kind of neat that's supposed to calm people down. These are medical records. He explained, voice level, they show a pattern. Haley leaned in. Soft voice now. Practiced? I'm not trying to take anything from my mom. I just want to protect her. Protect. That word again. The records weren't fake. That's the part that still stings. After my husband died, I did one assessment. Mild memory issues, age-related, grief plus sleep deprivation, plus a doctor who wanted to be cautious. Nothing severe, nothing progressive. They told me to slow down. I didn't. Haley knew all of that. What she didn't expect was my lawyer calmly sliding a folder across the bench. The independent assessment from last month. Not last year. The judge compared the dates, her eyes narrowing as she realized Haley's medical evidence was intentionally obsolete. Haley kept talking, gentle. Sometimes she forgets conversations. She repeats stories. She wears the same coat every day. That coat again. She insists she's fine. Haley added, almost smiling. That's what scares me. I recognized that tone immediately. It's the same one she used years ago when she wanted access to my savings account. Calm, reasonable, framed as worry. She'd sat at my kitchen table back then. Hand on mine. Voice low. Mom, just in case. The lawyer finished. Sat down. The judge stacked the papers. Didn't comment. Didn't nod. I kept my hands folded. Felt my pulse in my wrists. Steady. Annoyingly steady. Haley looked relieved. Like she'd checked a box. Those papers weren't lies. They were something worse. They were truth trimmed into a weapon. I knew what silence looked like to them. Weak. Confused. Cornered. That's why my lawyer leaned in and whispered, "Don't react to her insults. Wait for her to commit to a specific lie under oath. Once she's on record, her own words will become our evidence. In cases like this, emotion gets labeled instability fast. One shaky sentence, and they build a whole story around it. I've seen it happen. I just never thought it would be my turn." Haley didn't wait long. She forgets conversations, she added. Not looking at me, looking at the judge. She repeats herself. She won't make reasonable decisions. Reasonable? Another careful word. Her lawyer tried to slow her down. A hand lifted slightly. A breath meant to interrupt. Haley talked right through it. And the money, she went on. Voice sharper now. She won't even discuss it. That's not normal. That's dangerous. Dangerous. There it was. The judge kept writing. Page after page. Calm. No reaction. Just notes. I stayed still, hands folded. Spine straight. I focused on not reacting to the word money. Not even blinking. My lawyer didn't look at me. That was on purpose. Any comfort would have been read as cueing. Haley interrupted again when the judge tried to clarify something. Then again. Each time faster. Less polite. This isn't about greed, Haley insisted. It's about responsibility. Her lawyer stopped nodding. That detail mattered more than anything else. He leaned back slightly. Mouth tight. Not agreeing anymore. Just present. Quick break here if you ever want to know when someone's argument starts slipping. Watch their own side. Not the judge, not the other lawyer. They're people. Haley didn't notice. She kept pushing, filling the space, adding urgency where there didn't need to be any. I stayed silent. Not because I had nothing to say, because every word she added was doing the work for me. Haley shifted tactics. You could feel it. Less paperwork, more personal. She still lives in that old house, she pointed out. Not angry. Almost embarrassed for me. She won't even consider moving. No upgrades, no security. It's not appropriate for someone with assets. Assets. Plural. Interesting choice. And the coat, she added. She wears it every day, even in summer. It's not healthy. The judge glanced at me. Brief, neutral. I touched the sleeve. Haley called it a sign of decline. But she forgot how much I've always hated the artificial chill of these types of buildings. I wore the coat because the air in here was cold, and because its pockets held the only things she couldn't freeze: my memories and my autonomy. Inside was a photo, bent at the corners. Haley at about 6. I carried it because I could, because nobody could stop me. Haley kept going. She refuses to modernize her life. She pressed, no new car, no renovations, no staff. It's like she's stuck. Stuck. That word landed wrong. My lawyer stood. Finally, Ms. Knox lives within her means by choice. Haley scoffed. That's not a choice. That's decline. Decline. Another diagnosis she wasn't qualified to give. Here's the part she never understood. I didn't live simply because I had less. I lived simply because I didn't need more. My money didn't sit in checking accounts or flashy portfolios. It sat in trusts. In nominee structures. In places designed to be boring and invisible. Nothing you could point at. Nothing you could brag about. Haley never asked where the money went. She just assumed it had disappeared. She leaned back, satisfied. Like she'd painted a picture the court would understand. Poor widow, fading, clinging to the past. People confuse restraint with loss. They see a worn coat and think poverty instead of patience. The judge wrote again. Slower this time. Haley glanced at me, almost kindly. I just want what's best for you. I didn't look back. Because if I did, I might have told her the truth. That restraint wasn't something I fell into. It was something I chose. The judge set her pen down. I will consider the request for temporary conservatorship, she stated. Voice even. Professional. Final enough to sting. Haley exhaled. Loud. Like she'd been holding it all morning and finally let herself breathe. Her shoulders dropped. Just a little. Relief leaked out before she could stop it. Her lawyer leaned toward her. Whispered something I couldn't hear. Haley nodded. Eyes fixed on me now. Not angry. Not sharp. Pity. That one almost got me. She tilted her head. Soft smile pulling at her mouth. The kind you give someone who doesn't understand what's happening anymore. I felt my jaw tighten. I kept my hands still. The judge shuffled the papers into a neat stack. This court takes matters of protection seriously. Haley straightened. Chin up. She was already halfway into the future she'd planned. Frozen accounts. Time bought. Problems postponed. I stayed quiet, but for the first time that day, I looked up. Not at Haley, at the judge. Our eyes met. Not dramatic, just steady. I didn't nod. I didn't plead. I let her see me, all of me, calm, present, unafraid. She held the look longer than necessary. Her gaze dropped back to the file. Fingers tapped the edge once, twice. A pause stretched out. Thin and uncomfortable. Haley shifted. Just slightly. That relief she'd let in didn't quite fit anymore. The judge didn't speak right away. She flipped one page back. Then another. Slower now. Like she was rereading something she hadn't planned to. My lawyer didn't move. That was intentional. Haley's lawyer cleared his throat. Stopped. Thought better of it. Quick break here. This is the moment people misread all the time. They think silence means surrender. They don't see the space forming underneath it. The judge leaned back in her chair. Not a lot. Enough. Haley leaned forward, ready to receive what she thought was hers. That was the moment she relaxed. And the exact moment the room shifted. Because when a court leans forward, it isn't to close the door. It's to look closer. The judge didn't rule. Not yet. She closed the folder in front of her and rested her hand on it, like she needed to feel the weight first. Then she looked at Haley. Not unkind, just direct. Before I make a decision, she began, I need to clarify something. Haley straightened. Ready, confident again. Ms. Knox, you claim your mother can't manage money. Yet, isn't it true your company exists solely because of a bailout fund from Apex Holdings, my lawyer asked. That's a private investment. Haley shot back. It's a trust, my lawyer replied. And we have the signature for the final beneficial owner right here. The question landed wrong. You could tell immediately. Haley blinked. Once. Then again. Her mouth opened, then closed. She glanced at her lawyer. Fast. He didn't meet her eyes. The fund, Haley tried, forcing a smile. It's managed through a private equity group. The judge nodded slightly. That's not what I asked. Silence pressed in. Not dramatic, just heavy. Haley shifted in her chair. There are intermediaries, she offered. That's normal. There are 3, the judge replied, tapping the file. Your loan passed through all 3 before reaching your company. Haley's lawyer leaned in, whispered something urgent. She shook her head without listening. I don't deal with ownership details. Haley pushed back. That's administrative. I focus on operations. The judge turned a page. Slow, deliberate. You were advised to review the ownership structure. Another pause. Haley's confidence cracked. Not shattered, just a hairline fracture. We were under time pressure. That advice came 8 months ago. The judge noted. I felt my pulse in my throat. Still steady, still calm. I kept my eyes forward, didn't move. The judge looked up again. You ignored it. That wasn't an accusation. It was a statement. Haley swallowed. Her hands folded in her lap, then unfolded. She tried to speak again, but nothing came out clean. Every word tangled before it reached her mouth. Her lawyer finally raised his hand, halfway, then lowered it. Quick aside, this is the moment when noise usually fills the room. Objections, explanations, panic, none of that happened. The judge turned back to the documents, page after page. Her pen hovered, then stopped. Haley didn't interrupt this time. She didn't explain. She didn't defend. For the first time since she stood up that morning, Haley stopped talking. My lawyer stood without drama. No throat clearing. No speeches. He carried a thinner folder this time. That alone changed the temperature. Your Honor, he began, calm as a grocery list. These are the trust structures connected to the financing entity. He slid the documents forward. Haley leaned in despite herself. Her lawyer stayed very still. That also mattered. These pages show the ownership chain. My lawyer continued. 3 intermediaries, all lawful, all standard. The final beneficial control sits here. He tapped one line, just once. The judge followed it with her finger, slowly, like she was tracing a map she already recognized. My lawyer kept going. The fund is managed by an anonymous board, but the sole beneficiary with power of veto over your specific loan is a private trust. Your Honor, here is the wet ink signature of the woman who actually owns the debt my daughter is drowning in. It's Samantha Knox. No reaction, no gasp, no raised voice, just paper moving as the judge turned the page. Haley's breath hitched. Barely. Her hand slid to the edge of the table. Fingers curled, then flattened. She didn't cry. She didn't argue. Her eyes stayed locked on the documents like they might change if she stared hard enough. Her lawyer leaned close and whispered something fast. She shook her head again, slower this time, like her body hadn't caught up to the information yet. I don't manage day-to-day operations, my lawyer added. But legal control is clear. The judge nodded once. Not approval, acknowledgement. I stayed quiet. That was important. I didn't need to explain. The structure did that for me. Trusts don't argue, Des. They just exist. Quick break. People expect moments like this to feel loud. They aren't. Fear is quiet. It drains color. It makes people smaller. Haley looked at me then. Really looked. Not like a daughter. Like someone recalculating risk. The judge stacked the papers neatly. Her pen hovered. Then she set it down. Power didn't announce itself. It just shifted. Haley cracked after that. Not all at once. It started in her shoulders. They dropped. Her chin trembled like she was trying to hold it together out of habit. I didn't mean it like that, she muttered. Not to the judge. To me. Mom, I was just trying to help. Help. That word again. She pushed her chair back and stood halfway, then stopped. Her lawyer tugged lightly at her sleeve. She shook him off. I was under pressure, she went on, voice breaking now. You don't understand how bad it got. I thought if I could just stabilize things. She reached for my hand. Fast. Instinctive. Like when she was little and tripped. I pulled back. Not sharply, just enough. The room went still. Even the judge paused, pen hovering midair. I finally spoke. My voice surprised me. Calm. Lower than I expected. You weren't ashamed of me being a widow. Haley froze. Her hand stayed suspended between us. You were ashamed. I continued. That I didn't give you the money fast enough. That landed. Her mouth opened. Closed. She swallowed hard. Tears came then. Real ones. But they weren't for me. They were for the version of the future she'd already lost. You trapped me, she whispered, the realization hitting her. You let me bring you to court just so you could show everyone you own me. I nodded once. Not agreement. Recognition. That sentence told me everything. She hadn't expected resistance. Or consequence. Just compliance. Delayed? Maybe, but eventual. The judge cleared her throat. Soft, respectful. She gave us a moment. That kindness almost hurt more than the ruling would. Haley sank back into her chair. Smaller now, not defeated, just exposed. No one spoke. The truth didn't need help. It sat there between us, heavy and undeniable. Some apologies arrive after the damage is already done, and some truths don't ask permission before they change everything. The judge didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. The request for conservatorship is denied. She stated, eyes on the file, not on Haley. This court also formally recommends further review regarding potential manipulation and omission of material medical information. Haley flinched. Her lawyer closed his folder without a word. The judge turned one last page. The will of the late spouse is clear. All assets remain under Samantha's sole control. Any attempt at coercion or misrepresentation voids future claims. That part finally broke something in Haley. Not tears, just a hollow look. Like the floor had dropped out from under her plans. Court ended fast after that. Papers gathered, chairs scraped. People moved on, outside. Haley caught up to me. Mom, her voice cracked. Please, I just need time. I can fix this. I kept walking. I reached into the coat pocket as I passed the doors. I unbuttoned it, finally stepping into the summer heat I'd been prepared for all along. The photo was still there. Same crease. Same smile. I pressed it once with my thumb and let my hand drop. I didn't block her number. I didn't say goodbye. I just left. Here's the thing I'll say before this ends. Because it matters. Power doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like knowing when to stop explaining yourself, knowing when silence isn't fear, but clarity. If this story hit somewhere close to home, take a second. Like the video. Leave a comment. Tell me where you're listening from. Someone else might need to hear they're not crazy for setting boundaries. Even with family. I'm not proud of how it ended. I'm not ashamed either. Life doesn't hand out clean resolutions. It hands you moments where you choose yourself or disappear quietly. I chose myself. Silence didn't mean weakness. It meant I was finished explaining myself.